The Battle Pass is one of the most defining systems I feel that exists today in modern FPS and Battle Royale games. A lot of games implement Battle Passes, and it's really one of the many ways games like Call of Duty adds some sort of extra monetization to the system. Now, we can talk on whether or not the idea of monetizations in games is bad or whatnot, but I don't really want to do that right now because this video isn't really about that. That's just going to open a whole can of worms. Instead, what we're going to talk about is the principle of whether or not the Battle Pass and finishing it is actually worth it or not. Now, I will admit from the get-go here that I didn't really finish any Battle Passes in Call of Duty until Black Ops 6. It's not like I enjoy wasting COD points or whatever. It's just that I never really had the time. You know, I was a student in university and I was working, so you can imagine that like there's just sometimes genuinely no time to game. I'm also a person that sometimes tends to get a little bit bored of a certain game, so I didn't really want to just always be playing Call of Duty because kind of one of the caveats of a Battle Pass system is that you have to continuously play the game in order to keep unlocking the tiers. But you know, this time I decided I really wanted to try and take advantage of everything in Black Ops 6, so that's precisely what I'm doing. Now, from a monetary standpoint, is the Battle Pass worth it? And is it even worth considering something like, say, the Black Cell version of the Battle Pass? I want to start with that because the Black Cell is sort of the most in-your-face system in the game. You can't actually buy it with COD points, you have to pay real money for it. So I actually broke down the cost of the standard Battle Pass in comparison to the cost of the Black Cell, as well as, you know, what comes with them in order to determine the worth or lack thereof to see how this all operates. Also, I am qualified to be a financial advisor, so my advice is sound and solid. Trust me on this. Firstly, we know that a standard Battle Pass costs about 1,100 COD points. In dollar values, that's $9.99 USD. That's a pretty cheap price logistically speaking. Throughout the Battle Pass as well, you do earn 1,100 COD points if you can manage to complete it. It used to be 1,400, but now it's not because, you know, that's just how things work sometimes. So if we wanted to purchase that exact figure of COD points being 1,100, we need the 1,100 pack. That would set us back around $9.99. This is not including taxes. That depends on where you live, but anyways, we're going to be ignoring that because they're all really different wherever you go. So at this point, the only way to continue getting every Battle Pass standard version for free without paying any extra money afterwards is to finish the Battle Pass every single time. This isn't easy for everyone, and without tier skips, you don't have a head start and things like that. Now, what about Black Cell? Well, when you purchase the Black Cell, you immediately get 1,100 extra points and 20 tier skips, and then of course you will be able to accumulate the 1,100 as you go, just like the standard Battle Pass lets you do. Alright, but what's the entry price? $29.99. Okay, that's a pretty steep price point just for a Battle Pass when we found that the original one basically is going to cost you a third of that, and then you won't have to really spend another dollar again if you can, of course, manage to earn all the COD points in the Battle Pass, but even then if you're 100 short, that's like what, $2.99, something like that. So why pay extra? Are the other things worth it? So when you get the Black Cell Pass, you immediately get 1,100 COD points. That on its own is $9.99. Cool. The 20 tier skips also make it so that you can get a head start and you don't even really need to complete the entire Battle Pass. One tier skip costs about 150 COD points. 20 tier skips cost 150 times 20. That totals to 3,000 COD points. If we want to buy those tier skips, let's say we buy the 2,400 COD points, which means that we pay $19.99, and then we need to finish that off. So we buy the 500 COD points, which is $4.99. So in total, to buy those skips on our own, we need around $25. So in total, if we wanted to buy the items in Black Cell individually, we'd need $25 plus $9.99, so let's say $10 for the sake of math. Therefore, that'd be $35 from the internal components, again, not including taxes. Now, if you're not skipping any tiers, because honestly, I don't really think that that's that significant, or you don't care to, and you're gonna finish the Battle Pass regardless, then the Black Cell makes no sense, because you'd be saving all that extra cash you spent, and you'd only be missing out on the extra COD points and the Black Cell versions of stuff in the Battle Pass, which is not that significant. And you're not spending $30 every season. It's quite a big figure. You can then also, if you want, buy some COD points on your own, if you really want like some sort of skin bundle mastercraft thing or whatever at one point in the game, if that's like something that you really want, instead of buying a whole another version of the Battle Pass, you can just buy that one thing you want, if that's something that, you know, you care about. So long story short, my conclusion regarding the Black Cell is that if you spend a lot of time in the game, you like to buy skins and cosmetics, that's just something that you do, you want those extra COD points without buying them separately, so on and so forth, the Black Cell is a fine purchase. However, it is a lot of extra money for sure. Like if we want to break it down further, a single Call of Duty tends to run for 6 seasons, and 30 multiplied by 6 means you ended up spending $180 on top of the base price of the game. Now, if you did buy the Vault Edition, then you do get the Season 1 Black Black Cell immediately, but you did have to pay extra. So let's assume you didn't buy the Vault Edition and you bought the Standard Edition, and then you decided I'm gonna upgrade to the Black Cell Pass, and so you bought the Black Cell upgrade. That's essentially kind of what we're looking at right now when we're saying $180 in total. So, how far do we want to break this down? I'm gonna break it down. If you bought the Vault Edition of the game, that's $99.99. If you played it through Game Pass, the upgrade was $30. Alright, so let's assume you bought the Standard Edition, that was $69.99. Again, the upgrade does apply to that as well. If you play through Game Pass and you're not playing literally any other game on Game Pass, that's also an extra $19.99 a month for the Ultimate tier, which is what I assume most people are using for this experiment, unless you're using, I think, PC Game Pass, which is less than that, but let's assume you're using Ultimate. Again, no tax is being included in any of these values. So if you play Black Ops 6 for a year through Game Pass and you're not taking advantage of Game Pass in any other way, that's $240 on its own just to play Black Ops 6. That doesn't really make sense, by the way. I mean, don't do that. Take advantage of Game Pass if you're using it, but plus the $30 upgrade if you got that, plus 180 minus the 30 for the Black Cell the rest of the seasons. That is, logistically speaking, kind of insane. Now, if you take advantage of Game Pass, like I think you should, and you play a lot of games, then it's whatever. We could count that $19.99 or $10.99, I think, for PC Game Pass as negligible for the sake of the experiment. But my point is, if you play Call of Duty every year, buy the Black Cell each season, that is quite a lot of money spent on just Call of Duty for a single game. Let's be fair. Aside from Black Cell though, let's discuss the general Battle Pass and if I think it's worth spending really any time on it after finishing the Season 1 Battle Pass. For me, I like the Battle Pass system and I also dislike it at the same time, and let me explain why that is. I personally play a lot of video games and inherently I like that video games have a reward system to them. In a single player story, it's finishing the story. In multiplayer, it's stuff like the camo grind or a prestige system. The Battle Pass is sort of like another layer of reward on top of those things, and I feel like it makes it more fun, more rewarding, and just more encouraging to play. Now, would I prefer if there was no Battle Pass and you just did things like a camo grind, or maybe if there was a Battle Pass but it didn't cost extra? Yeah, honestly, I think everyone's gonna prefer not to pay extra for stuff. Maybe there could be some challenges that you unlock, skins and things like in Black Ops 6 this year, we've got some of those prestige skins, things of that nature. Obviously, that's more preferable than having to pay for a Battle Pass, and I think most people would logically agree with that. Now, in general though, the reality of our world today is that everything is hyper monetized. So this is what you deal with. And when you spend a lot of time in a game, you're bound to want some extra reward for that, which is where the Battle Pass comes in. I like personally having something to work towards in a game, and I feel like it's sort of pointless when there's nothing to work towards in multiplayer games. I know some people out there, they just like playing for the sake of playing, but I'm not necessarily that type of person. I have a lot of time in my day. If I'm spending a good chunk of it on a game, there better be some value to that at the end of the day, but that's just my personal perspective. I'm sure a lot of people have a different perspective on that. For $9.99 at a base price only once, if we actually get all the COD points, it's really worth it from that standpoint. You only paid once, you get the Battle Pass each season, basically from then on out. That is, of course, considering that you finished the Battle Pass, but chances are if you bought one, you're dedicated enough to want to keep playing the game. Most people have budgets set aside for entertainment in a month, and a season runs for, I want to say, 2 months. So you're not even going to end up spending that much in the grand scheme of things when you're just buying the base Battle Pass. The stuff included in the Season 1 Battle Pass in Black Ops 6 was actually kind of solid. I like the weapon blueprints. I felt like most of them were really creative. I also found some of the Black Cell versions not be too bad. I sometimes like the base versions a little more, but it depended on each gun really. I personally like the skins as well. Some of them were really cool. The weapon charms were nice. I didn't care too much for some of the stuff like the stickers or whatever, but I say that and then proceed to deck each gun I have out with every sticker I can add onto it and the decals. It's just fun to do these little cosmetic things here and there. Though obviously the big ticket items in a Battle Pass would be the skins and the weapon blueprints. I didn't honestly like the last tier in the Battle Pass. I feel like this is the one that you're basically working to unlock the whole time, and I honestly didn't care for this Sev skin at all. I've seen some people use it. I didn't like it in the slightest, and I don't think I'm ever gonna use it. I like the skin for Stone. The Goliath skin from the Black Cell isn't too bad. It's a little bit out there, but it's cool in some ways. I wasn't a fan of some of the skins in this Black Cell though. Some of them just felt a bit goofy to me. In general, I do think a lot of the skins in Black Ops 6 6 are a little bit mid compared to some of the previous Call of Duty games. Like, I preferred Modern Warfare 2's Black Cell stuff over Black Ops 6, but, you know, I'm interested to see what they'll do in Season 2 and beyond. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the skins will get better in the Battle Pass. I mean, even in the base version, I don't know, I hope so. I feel like in some ways the idea of the Battle Pass is both good and bad at the same time. Like, yeah, the reward aspect is nice, there's something to do, but it also creates this sort of FOMO, fear of missing out, where you see like everyone running with the cool skins and now you feel like you need to buy it, and it takes a damn lot of self-control to not buy stuff like this if you play the game all the time. In general though, I enjoyed the grind for the Battle Pass. There's some guns that you can also unlock in the Battle Pass only, so that makes the camo grind a bit easier, because there are some guns in the base version that I really didn't want to grind, but then I had options because I got new ones from the Battle Pass and they count towards the camo grind. I also like the double XP tokens because I have so many for when I need to use them when there's no double XP events. I feel like from an overall standpoint that after finishing the Battle Pass, I wish I'd have completed the previous Battle Passes I had in other Call of Duty titles, because it's definitely much nicer to have it all completed and to just have all the stuff at the end of the day. I think it adds a bit more value to the game in general though, because you are able to get more within the context of the game, and it keeps things a bit fresh and less stale at some points. Now, I will say that the tier skips did make it easier to finish faster, but I don't think that they're entirely necessary if you have enough time to play the game. I found that with more time, it was easier to grind. With less time, it's harder. This is just a fact. In regards to the existence of Black Cell, this is a sort of natural consequence of the monetization systems in the first place. I guess if you were gonna spend money on skins, or you were planning on buying a couple of bundles, those cost like a minimum of $20. If you had a bit extra and then get the Black Cell pass, you get many more skins, more blueprints, extra COD points. In that case, yeah, Black Cell makes more sense logistically because you're not going to be dropping $20 to $30 on skins every now and then. I've loaded into games where people have like every skin. All right, like I know that those people exist for sure. Do I necessarily think that you should buy the Black Cell? Not really, no. I guess it honestly depends on your values and what you find being worth it and not worth it. If this is the only entertainment you have in a month, maybe you can argue that it's like if you paid for Netflix or something or whatever. Realistically, I can't tell you to buy it or not buy it, but in a general perspective, I'd say the worth is not necessarily there just for a video game. I definitely am not someone that never ever buys skins. If I like something a lot, I'll consider it, but in the end, I'd say that in that case, Black Cell does make sense because you do get quite a good number of skins in comparison to just buying the Battle Pass and extra skins each season, because at the end of the day, you're getting more skins, more weapon blueprints, things like that than you are in the shop, but there's no master crafts or whatever. From an overall sense, and in my opinion, I do find the skin bundles in the store to be kinda overpriced. I feel like $30 for a skin bundle, even if it includes blueprints or whatever, that just feels like it's too much from a cost-benefit analysis, because let's face it, when the next Call of Duty comes out, these are gonna be obsolete, because there will always be another, Call of Duty to come out with new skins to buy, and you're just gonna repeat the cycle, and each time they're gonna be obsolete once the game is done. It's not like this is a game like, I'm gonna throw out a name like Warframe, where the game has been supported for years, so whatever you're buying, you have that longevity. The game is there, it's constant. Or in games like, I think it was like CSGO before it became CSGO 2, I haven't played it since the first one, but like, whatever you bought, there was a longevity point to that game. Call of Duty doesn't have that. It's a year-by-year release. So whatever you buy this year, you're not gonna use next year unless they add it into Warzone's integration, which they don't always do that. When you go to spend money, I want to say, just a note, don't think about just the quantity of money you spent, but what you're getting out of that quantity and for how long, and if it makes sense, because 30 on top of 30 on top of $30, they all add up over time, and you might have ended up spending enough money to buy like an actual like Steam Deck or something wild like that. Trust me, with the amount of money some people spend on these games, it does total to that much over time. But yeah, I mean, think about it this way. For me, the base Battle Pass, totally worth it. Black Cell, it's a bit of a stretch. That's just my opinion. Whatever you decide to do at the end of the day is totally up to you. But is it worth finishing the Battle Pass? Yeah, 100%. You should go for the Battle Pass. It's more fun. It makes the game a little bit more broad. There's more stuff to unlock in the game. It just feels like it makes the game more complete, if that makes sense. You get access to more weapons, things like that. Some of these weapons you're then gonna have to buy in skin bundles. Doesn't make sense. $10 and then you just get the coins, or the points, not coins, every time. And so, at the end of the day, it kind of pays for itself. But yeah, I'll wrap things up there. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and share this video. Drop a comment below on what you think about the Battle Pass, and if you think it's worth it in Black Ops 6, what do you think about Black Cell? Don't forget to subscribe with notifications set to all so you never miss out on a single upload, and that's all for today, folks.